Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive, fundamental shift that is literally making or breaking businesses right now. We're talking about modern application development, where the whole mantra is ship later, scale faster. Now, the stakes here are absolutely huge, because the reality is, your competitors, they aren't just sitting around waiting. They are already out there running cloud-native applications, they're leaning into microservices, and they're using next-gen software that lets them scale at lightning speed. So the real question for your business isn't whether you need to adopt these modern services, it's how fast you can modernize to beat them to the punch.
Which brings us to a pretty tough but necessary question. Are you bleeding money on dead code? I know it's a provocative question, right? But it's absolutely crucial. If you take a really hard, honest look at your IT budget, you might realize you're paying a premium just to keep old, outdated code on life support. Legacy systems are essentially just these incredibly costly band-aids. They're actively draining your resources, eating up your time, and burning out your engineering talent, instead of actually pushing your business forward.
But what if there was a way more predictable way to operate? Well, get this. According to modern engineering experts, like the team over at SparkOut, it is entirely possible to achieve a 97% on-time delivery rate. 97%! When you build with a modern cloud-native architecture right from day one, and you actually map out the blueprint before writing a single line of code, you completely stop guessing about when a project will actually be finished.
And it isn't just about hitting those deadlines either. It's fundamentally about speed. By finally abandoning those clunky legacy workflows and jumping into modern application development, teams are pushing out new features, updates, and even entirely new products 3 times faster than they were before. That is a massive competitive edge.
And here is the absolute kicker to this whole approach. All that speed, it translates into massive operational gains. We are talking about up to a 60% reduction in infrastructure costs. Because modern applications automatically scale based on your real-time traffic, you finally get to stop burning your budget on idle servers that are just sitting there doing absolutely nothing.
So let's get into Section 1, the legacy software trap. Let's really look at the visceral pains of relying on these old tech stacks. First off, legacy systems cost 3 times more just to maintain. They are incredibly fragile. It's like treating a patient who's constantly on life support. You try to roll out a quick update, and you run straight into a brick wall. What should be a simple little feature release suddenly turns into a monthly surgery, where fixing one thing magically breaks 3 others. And even worse, imagine this. Your big marketing campaign actually works. It goes completely viral. But at the exact moment that massive traffic strikes, your old app just chokes under the pressure. The servers burn out, and your viral success instantly turns to ashes. Meanwhile, your competitors are shipping 10 times faster, adapting to the market on the fly and leaving you just staring at their taillights.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast between that frustrating industry standard we just talked about and the modern, predictable alternative. On the left side, you've got the traditional nightmare, right? Hourly billing surprises that totally blow up your invoices, vague monthly status emails where your developers just seem to vanish, and testing that's dangerously left for the very last week before launch. But on the right side, the modern approach, like what SparkOut does, flips the script. You get fixed pricing so you actually know the cost up front. You get live working software demos every 2 weeks. And my favorite part, automated tests that run instantly to catch bugs the very moment they appear. It is literally a night and day difference.
All right, moving right along to Section 2, defining modern development.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, there's a core philosophy driving this whole shift, and it goes like this. Traditional development says, what can we build? Modern application development asks, what should we build, how fast can we ship, and how we make it? That quote really hits the nail on the head. Modern development is not just about throwing some code together and crossing your fingers on launch day. It is about building software with a true, solid backbone, software that is specifically designed for real-world scaling and long-term survival.
And the technical foundation making all of this possible is cloud-native application development. This doesn't mean just picking up an old app and migrating it to the cloud. Now, it means building applications that are born in the cloud. We're talking auto-scaling infrastructure, multi-cloud deployments, and using containerization tools like Docker and Kubernetes. To put that simply, these tools pack up your app so it runs perfectly anywhere, every single time. And because it's built this way, you ensure a 99.9% uptime SLA right out of the gate. Your system auto-scales, meaning you finally stop burning your hard-earned cash on servers you aren't using.
So, how do those fancy technical terms translate into actual business gains? Well, first, you get 2-week sprint shipping. Development finally stops feeling like a sluggish crawl. Second, you get 0% downtime deployments. That turns launch day, which used to be totally chaotic, into a completely drama-free event that just happens quietly in the background. And perhaps most importantly, your modern software acts like a giant shock absorber. It can effortlessly handle 10 times your normal traffic without breaking a sweat or causing a panic in your IT department.
Okay, Section 3, the 4-phase process. Let's move to and see how this builds, because this structured approach is what actually turns high-speed theory into working software. It happens in 4 distinct phases. Phase 1 is define and design, which takes a week or 2 to map your goals and lock in a technical blueprint. Then comes Phase 2, build and integrate, taking anywhere from 2 to 16 weeks, where you're seeing bi-weekly live demos. Now pay close attention to Phase 3, test and harden. This does not happen just at the end. It's ongoing. Testing happens the exact second code is saved, using automated tests and chaos engineering. And finally, Phase 4 is deploy and scale, which fully automates the handoff for a seamless, zero-downtime launch.
Now, to pull off a process that rigorous, you absolutely have to have a flexible, top-tier engine under the hood. For modern development, that means high-performance languages like TypeScript, Go, and Rust. It means rock-solid infrastructure using AWS, Google Cloud, Docker, and Kubernetes. And for the mobile side, it utilizes cross-platform frameworks like Flutter and React Native. This is huge because it allows you to totally ditch the headache of juggling multiple code bases. Instead, you get one flawless code base that runs perfectly everywhere.
And now for the part you've all been waiting for. Section 4, estimating the investment.
So how much does all this cost? The beauty here is that the investment scales entirely based on what you actually need. If you're a startup needing idea validation, a modern MVP runs about $15,000 to $40,000 and takes just 6 to 8 weeks to get an investor-ready architecture launched. If you're a growing business expanding your B2C presence, a scalable web or mobile app sits between $50,000 and $150,000 over 3 to 5 months, bringing in a slightly larger team. And for the big guys, large organizations doing massive legacy migrations, enterprise solutions start at $150,000, taking 3 to 12 months with a dedicated multi-team Agile squad. It is all scoped out up front, no nasty hourly billing surprises.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, incredibly important question. Are you ready to stop building static apps and start actually moving the needle? Listen, technical debt is an anchor. Those legacy systems are holding you back while the rest of the market is accelerating. By embracing cloud-native, modern application development, you can deploy the speed and reliability needed to crush that technical debt and literally leave your competition in the ashes. Partner up, modernize your stack, and go out there and build something that truly scales. Thanks so much for joining me today.